A lot of people assume that when you sell a home, there's only one right way to do it. Clean everything up, do repairs, paint the walls, stage the house, keep it spotless, leave every time there's a showing, and wait for offers, negotiate, hope financing works out. And sometimes that absolutely makes sense, but not always. Because sometimes people are dealing with situations where speed, simplicity, and certainty matter a whole lot more than squeezing every possible dollar out of a house. And honestly, I think that's something the real estate industry doesn't talk about enough. Hi, I'm Bill Simmons, and over the years, I've worked with families in all kinds of situations, especially people dealing with major life transitions. Maybe it's a parent moving into assisted living, a downsizing situation, a probate or estate situation, health issues, financial pressure, or simply someone who feels completely overwhelmed by the thought of preparing a home for sale. And what I've learned is this: not everybody wants the perfect listing experience. Sometimes they just want peace of mind. So in this video, I want to walk through how to sell a home fast, without repairs, without constant showings, and without unnecessary stress. And when that kind of option actually makes sense. Let's dive in. The traditional home sale process can work great, but let's be honest about what it usually involves: cleaning, repairs, decluttering, showings, inspections, negotiations, appraisals, financing delays, and emotionally, it can be exhausting, especially for seniors, especially for adult children trying to help parent from another city, especially when the house has deferred maintenance, years of accumulated belongings, outdated finishes, safety concerns, or emotional attachment tied to it. I've seen families completely overwhelmed before the house even hits the market. Because it's not just a house, it's 30 years of memories, a lifetime of possessions, family disagreements, financial pressure, and often a ticking clock. And sometimes the thought of fix everything first is simply too much. That's where alternative selling options become important. This is the mindset shift. Most people are trained to think get every possible dollar. And again, sometimes that's the right move, but not always, because every decision has trade-offs. Let's say someone spends 2 months cleaning, thousands on repairs, endless stress preparing for showings, only to net slightly more money in the end. Was it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. Now compare that to someone who says, you know what, I'd rather simplify this process, move on with life, and avoid the stress. That's valid too, especially when health is declining, a move needs to happen quickly, family members live out of town, the property needs major work, or the emotional burden is becoming too heavy. Sometimes certainty is more valuable than maximizing every dollar. That's not giving up, that's making a strategic decision based on your priorities. A lot of people don't even realize these options exist. They assume the only way to sell is clean, list, show, wait. But today, there are flexible solutions depending on the situation. Now, that might include selling as is and avoiding repairs, flexible closing timelines, direct purchase options, staying in the home after closing temporarily, avoiding repeated showings, and for the right homeowner, that can remove an enormous amount of stress. Now, does that mean every fast sale is the best choice? No. And this is important. Not every cash offer is good. Not every investor is ethical. Not every quick sale option is fair. Families should absolutely understand the value of the property, their available options, the trade-offs involved, and whether convenience is worth the difference. That's why clarity matters, not pressure. Here's where people get into trouble. They wait until they're emotionally exhausted. Then they make rush decisions, and rush decisions usually create regret. I've seen situations where a parent suddenly has to move. Adult children are scrambling. The house is full. Repairs are needed and time is short. And suddenly someone says, just get rid of it. That's dangerous thinking. Even if speed matters, you still want a plan. You still want to understand what the home is worth, what repairs actually matter, and what your timeline truly is, and what options exist. The goal isn't panic. The goal is clarity. Because when people feel trapped, they often accept the first solution put in front of them. And sometimes there are much better paths available. let's talk about situations where speed and simplicity generally can be the smartest move. A parent needs assisted living or memory care quickly. The family is overwhelmed. The focus needs to be on care, not managing repairs and showings. Let's say the home needs roof work, foundation repairs, HVAC replacement, and updating, and the owner either can't or doesn't want to deal with it. Adult children are trying to manage everything from another state. Every trip costs time and money. Convenience becomes extremely valuable. Sometimes heirs simply want a clean resolution without months of work and coordination. Honestly, sometimes people are just done. The stress becomes heavier than the financial upside. And that matters too. This is important. Even if someone chooses a fast sale option, they still need representation and guidance because there are bad deals out there. There are companies that make low offers, pressure homeowners, use confusing contracts, change terms later, create artificial urgency. Families need someone who can explain what's reasonable, what's not, what options exist, and whether the offer actually solves the problem. That's why I always tell people, slow down enough to understand your choices. Even if you ultimately move quickly, those are two different things. There's something else people don't talk about enough. Selling a long-time family home can feel emotional, even when it's the right decision, especially for seniors. That house may represent independence, identity, family history, stability, and when adult children start talking about, we need to sell the house, it can feel terrifying. That's why this process matters. It's not just about a transaction. It's about helping people move through change with dignity and clarity. And honestly, sometimes removing the stress of repairs, open houses, cleaning, constant disruption can make the emotional transition easier too. This is probably the biggest takeaway from this entire video. There's no universal best way to sell a house. The best solution depends on the condition of the home, the timeline, the financial situation, the emotional situation, the family dynamics, the health concerns, and the stress level involved. For some people, traditional listing is absolutely the right move, and for others, a simplified fast sell option makes far more sense. And sometimes the smartest approach is a hybrid strategy. Maybe you try the market first while securing a backup option, so you reduce uncertainty. That flexibility can create enormous peace of mind. I want to say this clearly. My role isn't to pressure someone into one option. It's to help people understand their choices clearly enough to make the right decision for their situation. Sometimes that means listing traditionally. Sometimes that means waiting. Sometimes that means not selling it yet at all. And sometimes it means choosing simplicity because life is already complicated enough. There's no shame in that. If you're dealing with a situation like this right now, whether for yourself, a parent, or another family member, take a breath before making quick decisions. You do not have to figure everything out overnight. Understand your options first, because when people have clarity, they make better decisions. And better decisions create better outcomes, financially, emotionally, and practically. Sometimes maximizing profit is the priority, and sometimes protecting your time, energy, and peace of mind matters more. Both are valid. If you're trying to figure out what makes the most sense for your situation, I'm happy to talk it through with you. No pressure, no obligation. Just a conversation to help you understand your options clearly. Because my role isn't to push a sale, it's to help families make the right decision for their situation. If this video helped you, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. It's free. Next week, the topic will be how to downsize without overwhelming your parents. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.